The countdown hits 0, and 3,000 tons of explosive fuel ignite beneath 3 men who are about to leave Earth forever or die trying. Fire erupts, the ground trembles, windows shatter miles away, and in that moment, humanity commits to the most dangerous journey in history. Now, imagine this. You're sitting inside a metal capsule no larger than a small car, strapped to the most powerful rocket ever built. Below you is controlled chaos. Above you is the infinite void. There is no rescue plan, no second chance, just math, courage, and trust. Before we begin this journey, pause for a second. If you love deep space stories and real missions that changed humanity forever, hit like, subscribe, and stay with me, because this is not just history. This is the night humans proved Earth was not their limit. It was July 16, 1969. In the midst of the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a fierce space race. The Soviets had already launched the first satellite and sent the first human into space. America needed a defining victory. Years earlier, President John F. Kennedy had boldly promised that the United States would land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade ended. That pledge became a national mission. The mission was called Apollo 11. Organized by NASA and supported by over 400,000 engineers, scientists, and workers, it relied on the massive Saturn V, a 363-foot rocket producing 7.5 million pounds of thrust, still one of the most powerful rockets ever flown. The crew? Neil Armstrong, the calm and analytical commander; Buzz Aldrin, the precise and highly skilled lunar module pilot; and Michael Collins, the often forgotten command module pilot who would orbit the moon alone. Who were these men? They were test pilots, engineers, fathers, not superheroes. They were selected because they could remain calm while sitting on top of what was essentially a controlled bomb. When the Saturn V lifted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, it was not just a launch, it was a statement. Millions watched live, radios broadcasted every second. For 12 minutes, the rocket fought Earth's gravity. Stage after stage separated perfectly. Finally, the spacecraft entered orbit, but that was only the beginning. How do you travel to the moon? You don't aim directly at it. First, you orbit Earth. Then you fire the engine again in a maneuver called translunar injection, sending the spacecraft onto a precise trajectory toward lunar orbit. For 4 days, the crew floated in microgravity, checking systems, adjusting course, and preparing for the most critical phase, the landing. On July 20th, 1969, they reached lunar orbit. Armstrong and Aldrin entered the lunar module named Eagle. Collins remained inside the command module, Columbia, circling above. Then Eagle detached and began its descent toward the Sea of Tranquility. Everything depended on the onboard computer, weaker than the phone in your pocket. Suddenly, alarms blared. 1202 error. The system was overloaded. In Houston, engineers had seconds to decide to abort or continue. After rapid calculations, they gave the command, continue. As Eagle descended, Armstrong saw danger below, massive rocks and a deep crater. One wrong move could tip the module and leave them stranded on the moon forever. With less than 30 seconds of fuel remaining, he took manual control. Hovering above the surface, fuel draining by the second, he searched for a safe spot. At last, he found flat ground. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. In mission control, cheers erupted. Around the world, people cried, prayed, and stared at their televisions in disbelief. 6 hours later, Armstrong opened the hatch. Slowly, he descended the ladder. One small step separated humanity from another world. When his boot pressed into the gray lunar dust, he spoke words that would echo through history. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. At that exact moment, more than 600 million people were watching. For the first time in 4.5 billion years, life from Earth stood on another celestial body. Buzz Aldrin joined him shortly after, describing the moon as magnificent desolation. Together, they planted the American flag, conducted experiments, collected 21 kilograms of lunar rocks, and took photographs that would define a generation. But while they walked on the surface, Michael Collins orbited alone above them. Every time he passed behind the moon, he lost contact with Earth completely. For 48 minutes at a time, he was the most isolated human being in existence, cut off from every other person in the universe. Landing on the moon was only half the mission. The real danger remained: getting back. The ascent engine on Eagle had never been tested in the moon's gravity before. If it failed to ignite, Armstrong and Aldrin would be stranded on the moon forever. There was no backup, no rescue rocket waiting. The world held their breath as they flipped the switch. The engine fired. Eagle lifted off the lunar surface and docked successfully with Columbia. The crew transferred samples and equipment, then jettisoned the lunar module, leaving it to orbit the moon endlessly. The journey home took 3 more days. On July 24, 1969, Apollo 11 re-entered Earth's atmosphere at nearly 25,000 miles per hour. The capsule endured temperatures hotter than molten lava. Parachutes deployed. The spacecraft splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean. The mission was complete. When did humanity truly change? At launch? At landing? Or when Earth rose above the moon's horizon, a fragile blue sphere in endless darkness? That image erased borders and shrunk politics. For a moment, we saw ourselves as one species on one world. Apollo 11 answered a single question: can humans reach another world? Yes. It proved ambition, science, and courage can defy impossible odds. Decades later, we plan to return to the moon and push towards Mars. It all began with 3 men, a towering rocket, and a promise forged in a tense era of change. The moon landing wasn't just about beating a rival. It expanded the human story beyond Earth. If you could sit atop that rocket, knowing the risks, would you go? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more mind-expanding journeys into space history, cosmic mysteries, and real missions that change the universe, subscribe to Space Facts and turn on notifications, because the next giant leap might already be in motion.